Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Synchronic. This was written and directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. It stars Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan. Follows the story of Dennis and Steve, two New Orleans paramedics and longtime best friends. They are called to a series of bizarre and gruesome accidents. They chalk it up to a mysterious new drug found at the scene called Synchronic. But after Dennis's older daughter disappears, Steve stumbles upon a terrifying truth about the supposed psychedelic that will change everything he knows about reality and the flow of time itself. This was a very, very interesting film and I really loved it. It's probably one of my favourite films so far this year and I was really impressed by it. I think Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are two directors to really look out for, and they work really well together, both serving as writers and directors, with Aaron Moorhead being cinematographer. This is like their fourth film, I think, and they come from independent filmmaking, so a lot of their early stuff is more low budget and sort of simply made. Much like The Endless, which was one I saw which I really enjoyed and highly recommend. It's really fantastically done. But even with a bit more budget this film has, is probably the biggest budget they've had, they still use the independent filmmaking techniques and style, and I really like that. It's beautifully shot, it's very inventive and original and unique, it really sucks you in, and what they do is they just take their time to set up the characters. So we learn who Dennis and Steve are, and the different lives they live, and that they're best friends, and we get to see their personal life as well, and the impact that each of them has on each other's lives, and I really like that. It's a slow burn like that, it takes its time, but by doing that, it's creating characters we really care about. So when bad things or strange things happen to the character, we really care for them and we really want to see them succeed and move forward from what's happening to them. I think this is the best way to go about it. I think it's very inventive, this film. Yes, it does have a subject matter we've probably seen before, but it's about the way that Benson and Moorhead and what they do with it and how they create and craft their own thing. The visual effects are handled really well and look very good. There's just a simple amount of visual effects to get across their story and what's happening within that sort of world that these characters go through. I think both the actors do a really great job. I think Jamie Dornan is an actor I don't always love, but when he gets the right role, he's quite solid, and I think he does a really great job here playing Dennis. And just seeing how he expresses himself when his daughter is taken, I really like that. But I really think the heart and soul and what really drew me into this film is Anthony Mackie and his performance. He's a solid actor, he's been doing some great work for a number of years, and there's just something about the way he plays Steve here. We really latch onto him. He's this character that sort of is regretful of certain decisions. He ultimately doesn't see that his life is important and he feels he has nothing really special to contribute to. That isn't until he suffers an illness. And it's about him realizing what's important and pursuing that and really doing what's right and feeling like he's able to do something that gives his life purpose. And there's some really great moments where he experiments with the drug and the effects that have and what we see. I like the simplicity of that. We don't get too weighed down by explanation. We just get enough information and we see enough to explain it. Where these guys know exactly what they're doing, the story they want to tell, and the information they want to provide to the audience. There's some really great dissolve shots in it. There's great use of camera where they tilt it, and I really like all those aspects to it. And when Anthony Mackie's character Steve starts experimenting with the drug, you really start to see what's going on. It's like the curtain's been pulled back and we get to see what's behind the curtain. We're seeing the world through his eyes to begin with, him and Dennis's characters. And we only see glimpses of things. We see the after effects and aftermath of what transpired. The film does open up with a particular sequence where we see strange things happening, which sets up what's going to unfold. But it's just about how we don't really know what's going on until later in the film. I think it's a good, solid story. I felt invested in it. I thought it was inventively and creatively done. I thought it was exciting and interesting and just really refreshing in many ways. I really love these directors and I want to see what they do next. I put them in the sort of directing range of Ari Aster and people like that because they're sort of unique with what they're able to do, and they're able to do it in a simplistic way. They're able to create suspense and intrigue, but they're also able to create interesting and creative characters that you sort of can feel invested in and interested in watching on screen and you really care about. I would say this is a drama with sci-fi elements rather than a sci-fi film. I think the trailer doesn't quite express what the movie's about. The only things that niggle at me a little bit, it takes its time to tell a story, which is fine, but it could have sped up a little bit. I felt we could have been introduced to things a little earlier than we were. Not saying it wasn't effective and really well done. I just felt there was little moments that we could have been exposed to earlier in the film than we actually were. The music and the audio is so loud in this film. I struggle with movies that really have loud audio or loud music because I've just got bad ears, and having that has a bad effect on me, and it sort of takes me out of the film. Not saying they use this music for jump scares or anything like that, and that's not what I mean. It's just really loud. It's like it's another character. It's really booming in parts, and it is effective in some parts of the film, but yeah, it's just a bit overbearing in some of the others. But they're the only two things I would sort of pick at in this film. The rest of it I loved. I thought it really thoroughly enjoyed my experience with this film, and I highly recommend it if you like a bit of sci-fi and something a bit different, and something that really starts to question who we are as human beings and a society. I'm going to give Synchronic 4.5 out of 5. I think this is the best film I've seen so far this year, and I look forward to seeing what more these guys do. I was just really impressed with this film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe at the bottom. Follow me on Facebook. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.